When you think about the open source databases that really built the modern internet, two names just tower over everything else: MySQL and PostgreSQL. These are the absolute titans. And what's so fascinating is that they kind of started in the same place, but they took completely different roads to get to the top. So let's get into their story. Okay, so just look at their logos. It's kind of perfect, right? On one side, you've got this zippy dolphin for MySQL. It's all about simplicity and speed. And then on the other, you have the big, steady elephant for PostgreSQL, which totally screams standards and features. This isn't just some clever branding. This image gets right to the heart of the huge philosophical divide between them. We're going to unpack exactly what that means. All right, Section 1, Open Source Database Titans. So before we can really get into what makes them so different, we got to go back to the beginning, to where they came from as these giants of the open source world. So picture this. It's the 1990s. This was a huge decade for open source software, just this explosion of ideas. And right in the middle of all that, both of these systems pop up, almost at the same time. They started out pretty humbly, but man, did they take off. They just exploded in popularity, got adopted all over the globe, and pretty soon they were household names for any developer worth their salt. Okay, Section 2, A Tale of Two Philosophies. And this, right here, is where things get really interesting. This is the core of the whole story. They're completely different ideas about what a database should be. This is where their paths split for good. So MySQL's whole deal was pragmatism. It was all about being lightweight, super fast, and just dead simple to install. Like, the whole point was speed and making it easy for developers. It was built to just get out of your way and let you start building stuff right now. PostgreSQL, though, totally different vibe. It was way more, academic, more of a purist's approach. For them, the absolute top priority was following the SQL standard to the letter, making sure your data was 100% correct, and packing in a ton of powerful advanced features. There's a reason people started calling it the world's most advanced open source database. It really earned that title. I love this quote. It just nails the whole thing, doesn't it? It boils this entire massive debate down to one simple idea. MySQL emphasized accessibility, PostgreSQL emphasized correctness. It's perfect. One was all about getting things done, and the other was about getting things done right. Okay, Section 3, Where they won the war. So you've got these two big ideas clashing. The question is, where did they actually find their footing? What were their battlegrounds? Let's look at where they each carved out a kingdom for themselves in the real world. MySQL, oh man, it absolutely owned the early web. Its simplicity was just perfect for the crazy, explosive growth that was happening. It became the famous M in the LAMP stock. You know the one: Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. That combo, that's pretty much the toolkit that built the web as we know it. And we're not talking small-time stuff. The reach was just staggering. We're talking about absolute giants. WordPress, the platform that runs like a third of the internet, built on MySQL. Early Facebook, you bet, it leaned heavily on MySQL. And for just countless startups, it was the no-brainer go-to choice. You wanted to build something fast and scale it up? You used MySQL. End of story. So while MySQL was busy conquering the web, PostgreSQL was off carving its own path. And its niche was just as important, but totally different. Its strictness and its powerful features made it the undisputed champion for any app that had to deal with really complex, really important, mission-critical data. And here's the key thing to get. When the stakes got really high, that's when developers reached for PostgreSQL. It was all about its strict ACID guarantees. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying it makes sure your data transactions are processed reliably. Every single time, no mistakes. That made it the perfect choice for big, complex enterprise systems, financial apps, places where if the data isn't perfect, really bad things happen. For that stuff, data integrity is absolutely non-negotiable. All right, Section 4, Different Paths, Shared Impact. So, okay, we've seen them go down these two totally different roads. But here's the twist. This was never a one-winner-takes-all kind of situation. In the end, their rivalry, their competition, it ended up having a huge shared impact on everybody. And it's funny, right? The fact that they were so different turned out to be this incredible gift for the entire tech world. This constant push and pull, this rivalry between fast and simple and correct and powerful. Well, it forced both of them to get better. They had to innovate, they had to improve. And yeah, they even started borrowing the best ideas from each other. The competition just fueled innovation. So this table kind of lays it all out nice and clean. For MySQL, you've got its main strength, accessibility and speed, and that's all driven by that get-it-done philosophy. Then you have PostgreSQL. Its strength is standards and being super extensible, all coming from that do-it-right philosophy. See? Two different strengths, two different philosophies, and both are just incredibly valuable. And this chart, this just shows you the scale of it all. Just look at the impact. Yeah, they conquered different worlds. MySQL totally owned the web and the whole startup scene, while Postgres became the gold standard for big enterprise and research. But their combined influence, it's just massive. The real story here is that, in the end, they both won. So, when you boil it all down, what's the big lesson from all this? I think it's pretty clear having this kind of diversity in the open source world is a huge, huge strength. It means we have different tools for different jobs. Each one has its own philosophy, its own community, and that mix makes the whole ecosystem stronger and way more innovative for every single developer out there. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to chew on, doesn't it? If you step back from just talking about databases, what does this whole story, these two projects that were competing but also kind of completed each other, what does it teach us about how competition itself can be a force for innovation?